Hello and welcome. This is Little Wave at Your Stars Within, giving you an update on all of the retrogrades that we're in the middle of, or beginning, or ending. We have a lot going on here at the end of 2024, and so I just want to give you an overview. As of right now, we are in the active retro period of Mercury, who's going to be retrograding from 22 degrees Sagittarius all the way back to 6 degrees of Sagittarius. So anything in the 6 to 22 degrees of the mutable signs, that's Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces, and Virgo. Okay, so remember in a retro, the planetary body will move through, in this case, 6, 7, 8, 20, 21, 22. We don't call that part retrograde, but it's the shadow period. So the first time through, you're getting information about what this is going to be, especially if it hits certain planets or points in your chart. Then we say, oh, it's retrograde as it appears to move backwards through those degrees. And then we say, oh, retrograde is over. And in this case, that'll be December 15th. But then it still needs to move back through. It's going to retro from 22 back to 6. It then needs to still retro or go forward from the retro 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way back to 22. So there's essentially a shadow period on both ends. That's important to understand because we're in a process where the information's coming in. Maybe we don't understand what it's about. As it retros, we do the internal work. We really interact internally with the universe and its messages to us, and we make some changes. And then coming forward, if we've made those appropriate changes and got those appropriate messages, we're now bringing the new behavior or the new understanding forward. If we didn't, we might still be getting tripped up as the universe is still trying to get that message across. So we won't be out of the entire shadow period until after the new year, but the retro will be over mid-December. We're also building towards a Mars retrograde. So you can see that we're having a lot of planets retroing or still completing their degrees as we move into the holiday season. Mars doesn't retrograde as often. Mercury's like 3 times a year, whereas Mars is every approximately 2 years. I think it's technically 26 months. And so Mars is going to retro starting December 6th. That's not including the shadow period. We've already been in the shadow period. And going to retro until February 23rd. And then we're still going to have that shadow period on the way back out, which actually goes all the way out until May 4th. So the Mars retro is less often, but definitely more extensive, especially if it hits any planets or points. So this particular retro is moving from 17 degrees Cancer, 17, 18, 19, 29, and then 0 Leo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to retro at 6 Leo, moving back to 17 Cancer, and then come back again. So this shadow period started around October 6th. It's currently in Leo, and it will retro on December 6th. Okay. What you need to know about this one in particular is that Mars is dancing with Pluto in the sky. Pluto, as many of you know, moved out of its 29th degree. It's finally done with the cardinal sign and moving to 0 Leo. And so Mars has been dancing at that 29 and 0 degrees with Pluto through this process. So if you have any planets in those early signs of Leo, this Mars is giving you kind of an early picture of what's to come with Pluto, especially if you're in the 0, 1, 2, 3. That's what we're really going to see in 2025. So he's giving you a more active, aggressive, right? Mars is god of war. So he might be more aggravating in a different way than Pluto works. Pluto's a little more insidious, a little bit deeper, longer lasting, more fully transformative, kind of taking us more to those inner depths, whereas Mars is more aggressive and abrupt, but it's still showing you where and how it's working with you. So if you're in those early degrees, you have a big year or two coming up. If you're at the 0, You've definitely experienced a good bit of it at this point. And if you're at the 3, Pluto will be moving towards your planet or point of the 3-degree fixed sign for the first time this year in 25. So fixed signs: Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Taurus, early signs. Then I just think it's important to note that we have so many other planets in retrograde right now. We have Uranus, which has been in retrograde for quite some time, but will go direct at the end of January at the 23 Taurus. So things at the end of the fixed signs, again, the Taurus and Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, at the end of those fixed signs are dealing with the Uranian transit. And that can bring more shocking changes depending on the planet or the point, point meaning ascendant, descendant, MCIC line, or the house that it's in and the planet that it's in will give us a lot more information around where these surprises and where these changes are coming from. But if you're in a significant Uranian transit, that part of you is changing in ways that may actually surprise you. So this is that consciousness leap. Then we have Saturn is direct, but had been retrograde, and he had gone from the 19 Pisces back to 12. And so he's now forward, but he's still at 12. So he's just making his way through the last part, the last shadow period of his retrograde. So that 12 to 19 of the mutable signs. So the mutable signs, especially the mid-mutable signs, are really getting a lot of energy right now: Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Gemini, because we have the Mercury retrograde, we have the new moon at 9 Sagittarius. So we have a lot going on here with these mid-mutable signs. And Saturn matures, you remember, right? So he kind of like holds you down. You feel this pressure, this restraint. There's a sense that something's holding you back, or it's a lot of hard work. It's not really an enjoyable time. The only thing there is to do is nose to the grindstone hard work during a Saturn transit. So for those with significant points and planets in these mid, 12 to 19, you've been in this Saturn transit a while and hopefully have gained that aha, that maturity, did that hard work. Now it's still not fun. Saturn's never really going to be fun, but he's coming back out and moving along, leaving you more mature and ready than he found you. And at the same time, we also have Jupiter, who is retrograde. He started at the 21 and he's going to go as far back as 11 Gemini. So that's in square to that Saturn, but still the mutable signs, mid-degree mutable signs. And he's not going to go direct until February 4th. So if you have anything between 11 and 21 there, so similar degrees of these mutable signs are really being affected. Your clay is really being worked on right now. And as they come out of the mutable sign and move into the Gemini moving into Cancer and the Pisces moving into Aries, they're going to come into a square. That's in the summer of 25. We're not going to think about it too much, but that's going to be in the early cardinal sign. So what's kind of going on here in the mid-mutables, moving its way to the early cardinal, and will be joined by Neptune, who's very slow moving. She is also currently retrograde, but will go direct finally on December 8th at 27 Pisces. So the end of the mutable signs right now, Pisces, Virgo, Sag, and Gemini, you're really just being affected by Neptune, which is still a very significant, but has been active for some time. So she's finally going forward. And when she gets to that 0 and 1 degree of Aries, she'll be met with the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction and square. And so that's going to be in our summer. We'll do a different video on that, and we'll have a little preview of it in the springtime Mercury retrograde. So that's everything that's going on in the sky right now. What I would tell you is most prominent, depending on which planets and points it's particularly affecting your chart. The one that is really on one of your degrees is going to affect you the most. And I find with retrogrades that those degrees really matter. If you're a degree out, it's not going to affect you the same way. So if you're in the 6 to 22 of Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, that Mercury retrograde is really affecting you. And if you're in the 17 to 29 of the cardinals, Cancer, Aries, Capricorn, and Libra, or then the very beginning of the fixed. So I'm hitting all the signs here. Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Taurus. Then that Mars retrograde is really going to affect you. So from the 17 to the 6 of the fixed. So 0 to 6 of the fixed signs. I think that the Mars retrograde being opposite Pluto is really significant, and really bringing to the surface in a societal way as well, things that need to be seen, things that need to be understood. Mars is an agitator, he's an aggravator, right? He's a motivator. He brings the energy. So he's kind of like a drill, and he's like drilling up this, what could be infection, or what is skeletons in the closet, what needs to rise, right? From the depth, from the Pluto, Hades, the hells, what needs to come to our societal awareness to be fully transformed. Mars is really, doing his job with that right now. And so just allowing, with it, as with every retrograde, allowing it to show you. I don't like to take too many leaps and predictions and tell you how it's going to affect you, because your level of consciousness is going to affect its particular effect on you, along with your understanding of the house, the planet. You can better understand how it affects you, but you want to be in co-creative energy. You want to hear the messages, see the signs, understand what's being brought to you, and interact with it in a humble way, where you have the ability to say, okay, I'm seeing something new. Let me change that. Or I'm being really motivated to put a boundary here with that Mars Pluto, and I'm just going to be okay with that. So it's just, I want you to work with the energies. I want you to understand them and work with them in how they communicate to you, because I think that's the most important aspect of astrology, is really learning how to listen and respond to the individual beautiful messages that the universe is always sending you for your highest growth. So I hope this was helpful. Lots of retrogrades over the holiday season. So be patient, be slow, do one thing at a time, be forgiving of others. If you come back to an argument or back to an issue that maybe had been there before with family, maybe approaching it from a different place, and really just trying to be more internal, contemplative, reflective, and artistic, allowing yourself room for creativity, room for slowness, room for these changes to take place, will illuminate the best path forward. If you'd like to know how these affect your chart specifically, feel free to reach out for a reading. Follow my website, yourstarswithin.com, sign up for the newsletter, and keep track of what's going on, because we have a lot of offerings with the new year. Thank you. Bye.